Sweden just sent a wake-up call to NATO in a move that has shocked European nations. The nation has officially unveiled its 19th and largest ever military aid package to Ukraine. We're talking about 16 billion Swedish kroner, which is roughly $1.6 billion in new support. To put that in further perspective, this one aid package is larger than the contribution that some of the largest countries have sent in a year. But this isn't just about money. No, this is much bigger than simply financial support. It's a story about a nation fundamentally changing its defense strategy. It's about why Sweden is suddenly preparing for the unthinkable, and why that matters not just to Ukraine, but to all of the world, from neutral power to NATO pillar. For over 200 years, Sweden stood proudly neutral. This policy of military non-alignment began in 1812 after the Napoleonic Wars and continued through both World Wars and the Cold War. Even during the height of Soviet-American tensions, Sweden stayed firmly out of formal alliances. But neutrality wasn't passivity. Sweden carefully balanced its global diplomacy with a strong focus on internal security, defense industry innovation, and a resilient civil defense system. Its goal wasn't isolation, it was stability. By 2025, that strategy had evolved alongside its capabilities. According to the Global Firepower Index, Sweden now ranks among the top 30 most powerful militaries in the world. It fields over 24,000 active personnel and a reserve system that can be expanded significantly. Plans are already in motion to grow total forces to 115,000 by 2030. But all of this existed within a neutral framework until Russia's actions forced a historic shift. The day neutrality died, 2022, and the invasion of Ukraine, February 2022, was the turning point, not just for Ukraine but for Europe's post-war security order. When Russia launched its full-scale invasion, Sweden's leadership realized that neutrality could no longer guarantee national safety. Years of Russian aggression like the 2008 war in Georgia, the 2014 annexation of Crimea, and growing military posturing in the Baltic had already raised alarms. But this was different. This was full invasion. Sweden, for the first time in generations, began asking itself a hard question. What if staying neutral was now more dangerous than picking a side? Public support for joining NATO surged, and politicians across multiple parties agreed Sweden could no longer afford to stand apart. In March 2024, Sweden officially became NATO's 32nd member, the largest military package in Swedish history. The result of that transformation? A historic $1.6 billion military aid package to Ukraine, the largest ever sent by Sweden. To put this in context, some major European countries have failed to match that total across multiple years. This isn't a symbolic gesture, it's a shift in mindset, in policy, and in defense posture. Out of the $1.6 billion, roughly $920 million will fund new military production from Swedish and European manufacturers. Another $500 million will go toward building Ukraine's domestic defense industry, and $50 million more is coming directly from Sweden's own military stockpiles. What's more, 70% of the aid is set to be delivered within a single year, lightning speed in government terms. Tactical tools, not just money. This package isn't just generous, it's smart. Sweden is sending exactly what Ukraine needs to fight and win. We're talking about mine-clearing vessels to remove Russian sea mines in the Black Sea, CB-90 fast assault boats for river and coastal defense, and ground support equipment to help maintain Ukraine's new fleet of F-16s. There are long-range drones, guided missiles, and spare parts to keep tanks, artillery, and armored vehicles in the fight. And behind every weapon is logistics. Sweden is helping Ukraine maintain its airfields and launch sites with operational reliability, even under fire. This is a complete support system, not just a weapons drop, on the ground in Ukraine. Meanwhile, the fighting in Ukraine is intensifying. From Kharkiv in the northeast to Kherson in the south, Russian forces are pressing attacks along nearly the entire 600-mile front. Ukrainian troops have faced brutal attrition, especially in regions like Bakhmut, Avdiivka, and the Donetsk corridor. Many Ukrainian brigades are exhausted from 2 years of near-constant combat, but Russia is bleeding too. More than 300,000 casualties, including elite units, have crippled its offensive capability. Sweden's aid arrives at a critical time. These new systems could provide Ukraine the edge it needs to hold, regroup, and launch new counteroffensives in key sectors. Sweden's speed versus NATO's stalemate. As Sweden delivers rapid aid, NATO continues to struggle with coordination delays. Even NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg admitted that internal decision-making delays have caused real damage on the battlefield. Sweden's action shows what's possible when speed, strategy, and political unity come together. This contrast has not gone unnoticed. Sweden's proactive strategy has become an unofficial critique of NATO's often slow-moving bureaucracy. Stockholm isn't trying to shame the alliance, it's leading by example. It's proving that even small states can drive change. Building for the next war. What makes Sweden's new strategy so compelling is its vision for the future. It's not just preparing for today's war, it's investing in tomorrow's. That includes space-based surveillance, satellite communications, AI-assisted targeting systems, and cyber resilience. Sweden is also expanding its role in NATO operations like the Baltic Sentry Initiative, helping to secure critical infrastructure in the Baltic Sea. With Finland and Norway, Sweden is building a regional security network that can respond to threats from Russia, the Arctic, or even hybrid warfare below the threshold of open conflict. Sweden's message to NATO and Trump. As U.S. political uncertainty grows, with former President Trump hinting at withdrawing NATO support, Sweden's example becomes even more important. Defense Minister Paul Johnson has said plainly, "This isn't just our responsibility." His message was a challenge to bigger powers: step up or step aside. In many ways, Sweden is proving that decisive leadership can come from unexpected places. With nearly $8 billion in total aid committed to Ukraine since 2022, Sweden is showing how it's done with clarity, commitment, and courage. The road ahead, Sweden's new identity. So what's next? Sweden plans to spend 3.5% of its GDP on defense by 2030, among the highest in Europe. It's investing in missile production, long-range drones, and advanced strike systems. Its cooperation with Baltic and Nordic partners is intensifying with joint drills, troop deployments, and intelligence sharing across the region. But more than that, Sweden has undergone a national identity shift. It's no longer just the peaceful Nordic bystander. It's a key player in European security, a rising NATO leader, and a bold responder to the global threats of the 21st century. In the end, Sweden's evolution isn't just about Ukraine, it's about Europe. It's about showing that neutrality has its place, but in times of crisis, standing up matters more. It's about rewriting the rules of what leadership looks like, and proving that even smaller countries can cast long shadows. So what do you think? Has Sweden just set a new bar for NATO support? Let us know in the comments, and be sure to subscribe for more global defense updates.